Welcome to She Sells Radio. I am so excited for the conversation that you're going to get to hear today. One, because it's an incredible topic, and two, I get to have this conversation and bring you two of my favorite people on the planet. These two have quickly become just some women who I absolutely admire, adore, I think are incredible. I've got Erin and Sarit Attwood on the podcast for you today. So we are going to be talking today about how to cultivate undeniable confidence, which is such a hot topic in our community. And I don't think I've ever spoken with a woman who didn't want to grow and improve in this area of her life, myself included. I'm always looking to grow my confidence, my self-belief, my self-empowerment. And you are going to get to learn from two absolute experts who walk the talk in this area today. So let me tell you a little bit about my guests, who they are, who you're going to be learning from, and then we're going to dive in. So Erin and Sarit are the co-founders of Emunah Strength, a health, wellness, and self-discipline movement for high performers, which if you were listening to this podcast, I am 99/100% sure that you identify as a high performer. Erin and Sarit have helped thousands of women worldwide become the most confident version of themselves by creating mental and physical strength. They help driven women discover the gaps that are holding them back from reaching their highest potential in all areas of their life, mastering their health, fitness, discipline, and mental fortitude so they never have to be on a diet, which also we love. And these two body transformation experts have over 25 years of combined experience in the health and fitness space. They've been featured on, listen to this, Muscle and Fitness Hers magazine, the Discovery Channel, which I didn't know, by the way, it is incredibly cool, and more. So Sarit and Erin, welcome to She Sells Radio. I am so excited to have you both today.
I think that's the best anybody's introed us before.
Well, Elisa's voice is like,
It's a radio voice, baby.
yeah,
I am.
She sells radio.
She sells radio. I didn't think about it when I was naming the show, what a tongue twister it was going to be for other people. You all get it though. You get it. You're with me. I'm so happy to have you both. You two are just such bright lights in the world. And like I was saying in the intro, you two really embody what we're going to be talking about today. And so I want to dive in. We'll kind of weave throughout the conversation a little bit more of both of your backgrounds and how you got into this work. But I just want to start right off with this topic of undeniable confidence. What does this mean to you? And why is it something that you're so passionate about in your own life? And then also helping other women cultivate in their lives too?
I don't know about you, but I don't know a single person who wakes up and is like, I hope I'm not confident today. I hope that I'm scared to do everything today. I hope that I am afraid of people. I hope that I'm concerned about people judging me. And so I feel like, everybody wants what they want here on this earth, whatever it is. And if we don't have confidence, we will have a very difficult time getting it. Whatever it is that we want. If you're afraid to talk to somebody, if you are concerned with what people are thinking about you, if you feel like you're not living up to your potential, you just don't show up in the same way. Even just your physiological vision, like the view is your shoulders are slumped, heads down, it's low energy. And so it's really hard to go after what you want when you're in that position. And so it's so powerful because it's like, hey, everybody wants to be happy, period. And one of the ways that we get happy is by feeling like we're getting what we want.
Yeah.
A lot of people think on the surface it's a car, a house, a family, or whatever, but it's something that those things give you that's internal that you really want. Fulfillment, love, some kind of satisfaction. And so if you want to get those things, you better up your confidence game.
Yeah. Wow. Amen. Amen. Sarit, anything you would add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, confidence is leadership. If you look at any leader, I believe that the greatest leaders, and I actually heard this today when I was listening to a segment, is that the greatest leaders exude confidence and also humility at the same time. I believe that it's such a great way to describe it, because confidence gives you the courage to play a bigger game.
Yeah.
Right? Like for your audience, like whether it's, generating greater income, expansion in life, right? Like money touches every part of our lives. Like you got to have the confidence to believe it. You got to have the confidence to get after it. And you got to have the confidence to believe that you're worthy of receiving it.
Yes. Yes. I'm curious for both of you, because someone who's watching the video or listening to you talk, they're going to see both of you or even just hear the intonation in your voice. And like, these women are confident, like you absolutely are. And I feel that from you. And I want to hear your perspective on cultivating this. If someone's listening and they're like, I'm in a place where I don't feel really confident. Maybe I've never felt confident in my life, or maybe I'm confident in certain areas and not in others. So there's all these different ways this can play out in our life. But have you both always felt like you were naturally confident? It's totally okay if you have. I think some people are maybe born with that. But if not, maybe tell us about a time when you didn't feel confident, and how did you start to cultivate that in yourself and transform that for yourself?
So good. What a great question.
You want to go?
Yeah. So first and foremost, for a longer portion of my life, I did not feel confident, but I always knew that I was different, and I always knew that I was special. So that's what made me believe that I could become that. So I believe that the gateway to confidence is self-discipline. Now, something to note about confidence is that while in general, if you see me nowadays, you will see a confident version of me. And the thing about confidence is that it's really perishable. So every single day, our confidence is back to zero, right? That's why I'm a firm proponent in discipline, because discipline allows me to continuously gain my confidence, especially during difficult days when I do not feel confident in myself. I have this thing that I can look back at, and it is how I showed up for myself. I believe that without discipline, one cannot be confident, because when we're disciplined, we're being ethical and we're leading in integrity with our word. And when we're not leading with discipline, then what ends up happening is we're not being true to ourselves, right? So that touches our self-worth.
Wow. Wow. I want to just pause, Erin, before you add in your perspective on that. I don't think I've ever heard it said that way, that confidence is perishable. That's super interesting to me. And it makes sense too. Because if we think about it that way, it's like every single day we have the opportunity to show up. We have the opportunity to do better. I mean, even I'm just thinking about in my own life, yesterday, I'm an early riser, and I set the alarm early, and I know like you both do this too, but for some reason I didn't get up with the alarm. I don't know if it didn't go off. I don't know what happened, but I woke up late and I was we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with I didn't hit it without paying attention. But I woke up late, and then the whole morning was like, I don't cuss a lot on podcasts, but it was like a shit show. Like, I'll just call it what it, and I felt off. But this morning I woke up early, on time, got all the things in, got the workout in, and feeling so different as a result of that. So it was like back to ground zero today. So I think that's also a blessing that we get to start again at zero every single day, right? So yeah. So Erin, anything you would add to that on either just like a time in your life when you didn't feel confident, how you overcame that, what your own personal journey has been with that?
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about this when I was, so I think there's also a difference between confidence and ignorance. Because I'm thinking about when I was a little kid, it would have looked like I had confidence, but I actually probably just didn't know if I was being judged. I was just ignorant. I had no clue. Like kids just do, I don't know if they're confident or ignorant because they're little children. They don't know, right? They don't understand judgment or, criticism or anything like that. And so I think as we grow up, we create filters. And I, in my own personal opinion, if I were to have one, I don't think anybody's born with confidence. I, because we all lack it at some point in time.
Yeah.
It's called insecurity.
Mm.
Everybody has them.
Yeah.
So is anybody really born, which this is good news, if you've never felt like a confident person, like if, be it true or not, I don't know, make it your story and believe it, that nobody's born with confidence. And
Yeah.
if that's the case, that means that anybody who is confident has developed the skill. And if they've developed the skill, then you can develop the skill.
Mm.
And I really do believe it's born out of action.
Mm-hmm.
Born out of following through with our word. When you say, I'm going to go to the gym, and you don't, that's like somebody saying, yeah, we're going to go on a date. You show up at 5 p.m. and they don't.
Yeah.
Do you trust them anymore? Do you have confidence in them that they're going to do what they say they're going to do? No. So the same is true for us. If we say, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, and then we don't, one time, okay. But then when it happens again and again and again and again and again, it's hard to believe ourselves. It's hard to have confidence or trust that we are going to show up in any certain way that is admirable, you know?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from both of you is it really like discipline is that path, right? And so if somebody is listening and maybe they don't think they're a disciplined person, or maybe I know, you all serve high achievers. We have women and men who would identify as high achievers who listen to the show as well. But maybe there's a part of life where they're not following through on their word to themselves, and they like keep breaking that promise, whether it's getting up and working out, whether it's, certain business goals or financial goals. And like in this area, I'm struggling with discipline. I know you all have an incredible app that you were just telling me about in the pre-chat too, that you build that like helps people instill those disciplines. I know how much that discipline is a focus of what you teach, but so I know there's probably beyond the scope of the conversation today in terms of what you teach with helping with discipline, but what's something someone could start doing now to start creating greater discipline in that area where maybe they're struggling with it, to start building up that confidence?
I want to say what not to do first.
Okay, let's do that. I love that.
You just led to it. You said to start building up, which means that
Super smart.
you don't just have, you build. Yeah. If you're handed something, you haven't built the tools, the discipline, the skills, anything to maintain it, to keep it.
Yeah.
So this is the idea of where people go on like a diet. They're like, I haven't eaten good. I've eaten burgers and pizza and ice cream and wings for the last, not that wings are the worst thing, but whatever, you get it. For the last hot dogs, for the last, 10 years of my life. And all of a sudden I'm going to do keto. It just doesn't, you've got to graduate to that. You've got to earn that.
Yeah.
And so if you're asking like, what can somebody do? The smallest thing that you truly believe in your heart, you could do it for the rest of your life right now. So what's like a step, right? So people will be like, in our world, they'll say, I'm going to work out 6 days, so January 1st, I'm going to gym 6 days a week, but they haven't for years. Yeah. So what if you could go 2 times and you could just be really good at going 2 times for like 3 months? Yeah. And then you go 3 times or 4 times. You look back at your life, people underestimate what they can do in a year. Because they want everything, like, I wouldn't say everybody, but our society, our culture is like Amazon Prime, get it delivered tomorrow, yesterday. Yeah. So if we can take a look at like, what's one thing I truly believe I could do it for the rest of my life and not feel like I'm suffering? Start there. Just get really good at it. Prove to yourself you can be consistent. Then this is how our app works too. Then you build, then you add.
Got it. So it's a sustainability piece. And I love that question of what's something I could do for the rest of my life, because it puts it in perspective, and it's a clarifying question as well, right? It helps you see, what am I going to be honest with myself about versus where am I just like blowing smoke and I'm not there yet. So yeah. Sarit, anything you would add to that?
Yeah. And then with regards to the rest of my life, something that's just important to discuss as well is that if you can, based on your current worldview, you saying, if like this is something that I can implement for the rest of my life, doesn't mean that it becomes your ultimatum. Like so many times I hear people talk about ultimatums, and it's like, let's not do that, because the intention is to evolve. And then what is the most sustainable for you once you evolve from point A to point B, right? So like in the context of movement, if
That's
let's
big.
say Elise, right? Like you got 2 kids, and of course, like they take up a lot of time and all of that. Let's
Yeah.
say if you know for sure that based on your current state, like you can commit to moving for 15 minutes every single day, like, you know, all in, then
Yeah.
awesome. Let's do that. And then the concept that I'm getting into is called building the chain. So
Mm.
That's like the
think about
start.
think about like from a big picture standpoint, right? It's like if you were to go and sell a chain, okay, it was a golden chain, would you want it to be like heavy and long, or would you want it to be like little? Like let's say if your life
Mm.
depended on it, like your family's legacy, how heavy and what would be the worth of that chain? So your discipline is like building a chain every
Mm.
day. When you follow through with that intention, you get a loop added to your chain. And
Ah.
and then the next day when you do, you get another loop and another loop, right? So like for us, we created a measurable system in the app. It measures things for you where you're able to, where you are progressed based on the size of your chain.
You know what's cool about this?
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the chain. Okay, let's say one day you don't. Uh-oh, now you can't continue you got to start a new chain. But that doesn't mean you lost what you built. And
Mm.
I think a lot of people think, oh, I screwed it up, so now I'll just go completely the other way. But it's like,
Yeah.
oh, no, no, no. You still have whatever wisdom you built. You still have whatever lessons you learned. You
Yeah.
still have this chain still exists. Just
Mm.
because you're going to start a new one doesn't mean that you don't have what you already built. So
Love
just
that.
take that forward with you and now build an even better chain.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. I feel like what you're speaking to here is something we talk about a lot in the community too, which is just continually increasing your level of consciousness, right? So everything that is, so I think we can get, when someone's a high achiever, sometimes they get caught up in perfectionism, which I think is a mask for a lot of fear. And like, oh, I'll just, I messed up one day, I'll throw the whole thing out the window. What you're saying here is no, you've evolved your consciousness to a whole new level with every link you've put in the chain. And then Sarit, to your point as well, it's like maybe there's a habit or a discipline that's going to serve you well at this point in your life, but then you reach another level of consciousness and it's okay, there's something new that I'm going to add in, there's something I'm going to evolve into. So that progression, that growth, that expansion is continually increasing our level of confidence to higher and higher levels that maybe we didn't even know were possible. Right?
1000%. And
Yeah.
that's why dieting or just simply working out is not the solution, because
Mm.
it's a mechanic. It is not a solution. The
Yeah.
solution is having a bigger picture perspective and, like you said, a higher level of consciousness, right? It's just like when it comes to, let's say, sales or enrollment, it's not just about nailing your pitch. Like that is a
Yeah.
right? It's not just about like negotiating. That's a mechanic. It's about having, if you really think about it, a higher level of consciousness with regards to how you show up in the world and how you implement emotional intelligence.
Awareness,
Yeah.
connection,
Yeah.
intimacy.
Right.
All of it. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
and that's when you land the message more powerfully. That's all it is.
It's an energy
Yeah.
it's an energy and an internal work more than it is a mechanic. Yeah.
Totally. This is why we resonate so much, because it's like we teach the same thing in different avenues, right? Different parts of life. So
Because it's all
yeah.
enrollment. So like what we do is we teach people how to be enrolled in themselves. When you're enrolled in yourself, you can
AKA confidence.
I
yeah,
love that. Enrollment in
yeah,
yourself. Yes.
like you
Yeah.
can enroll anybody on anything. Like watch someone confident. Like they don't need to be like they don't need to know the ins and outs about like the details of the product. It is their energy,
Yes.
right?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I want to say one thing, and then I have like one other topic I want to ask you both about, as it pertains to confidence. So one thing I would just add on to this, kind of my own personal reflection, is I don't think it's a bad thing to not be confident in certain areas, because I think if we're completely confident in every area, now I think we can get confidence from something outside of us, something bigger than us, like knowing that even if we are new in an area, we can figure it out and master it. But I think if we're continually pushing and evolving ourselves, then any new area we haven't mastered yet, we're not necessarily going to feel completely confident in yet. So I will also look at, okay, if there's an area that I don't use the word struggling in, but an area that I haven't mastered yet, or I don't have that complete confidence yet, it's not a bad thing. It means I'm growing as well. It's more of an opportunity to grow rather than like doing something wrong type of thing. So side note that I would just, add into this conversation. But the one other area I want to ask you both about, we started to go down this path towards the beginning, and I know we've got just a bit of time here before you all go on for your live streams. I want to be on, I want to honor that. Maybe we'll have you back for a fuller conversation about this, but overcoming the fear of judgment as we confidently put ourselves out there.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Oh my gosh. I want to hear
glad
your
you asked that.
perspective on this, because this is like, I was talking to a client yesterday, a new member of our community, and she's a singer. She's a wonderful performer. She's in sales as well. And we were just talking about, she'd been like putting herself out there last year on social and got some judgment and got some nastiness. And I shared this with you all, like last year, like my heart got hurt in some scenarios that felt like judgment and felt like, oh, like it just didn't feel good. But I also know there is something being cultivated in me within that. So I think it's always working for us, even when we have those moments of judgment or feeling like people are looking at us a certain way. How do you all approach that? How do we maintain that confidence as we're putting ourselves out there if we're bumping up against any sort of fear of judgment, or maybe you have been judged in the past and you feel nervous to put yourself out there?
Oh, this is so good. And I would even say inevitable.
Mm,
We are also the beautiful thing about human beings is that we're all different. And the
yeah.
challenging thing about human beings is we're all different.
Mhm.
And so that means my opinion's not going to match your opinion, and what you do and the way that I think that you do it might go against my morals or ethics. And
Mm,
that doesn't, I think I really want to like provide a solution in the mind around this, but the truth is that it is not easy. And um, it's just something that you become more okay with the more you
mm,
experience it. So don't avoid it, but also don't go out there and like be an a-hole and like try to get people to hate you.
yeah.
If you're being authentic, truly authentic, there's going to be somebody that does not agree, that doesn't like it, or is just angry and wants to say something to somebody that makes them feel better.
Mm,
Um, Now, I do believe that there is feedback that can be very constructive. I think it just depends on who it's coming from.
yeah.
Where is the criticism or judgment as we feel it coming from? Because if it's from somebody I love and I trust and I admire and we've known each other for a long time and they say, hey, I think like this felt a little bit out of line,
Mm,
I will actually take that and I'll
yeah.
think, okay, let me evaluate and reflect on that. Maybe there was a better way that I could have done this, or maybe it was the wrong timing for this. It
Mm,
wasn't necessarily
yeah.
the wrong thing. It was just bad timing.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's good to look at that, but then also to say, I heard somebody say, I think it was Alex Hormozy, who was like, if you wouldn't be invited to speak at my funeral, I don't care about what you have to say.
Mm,
And I was like,
wow.
that's very
Yeah.
powerful. It's in essence like the same thing.
Right. Right.
And
Hmm.
with judgment too, I think it's good to be mindful of ourselves, because
Mm,
usually other people are a mirror, because what we are seeing in them is only part of them.
mm,
It's out of context. Just like somebody may take something that you do or say or whatever on social media out of context. This happens to super famous people all the time. This
mm,
happens on the news all the time. It's so manipulated. And
yeah.
they'll take like one little piece of what somebody said that is so out of context, has nothing to do what the actual situation was about, but will paint them in a really terrible light.
Yeah.
So if somebody is also judging you or criticizing you, understand that you're only seeing a fraction of them as well.
Mm,
So it
mm-hmm.
doesn't help for the like to just have the same attitude and behavior towards them.
Yeah.
I still get to learn how to be better at this.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like if what you're seeing in them is something you're familiar with, because that's the reason that that's the piece of them that you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so then look back at you and say, why is that what I'm pulling out of? Like recently, this is vulnerable, but we were we went through a lot of challenging times at the end of last year. Very challenging, probably the most challenging experience that we've had. And it was so challenging because it felt like my character is being misinterpreted and then shared in this interpretation.
Yeah.
And I'm helpless.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to try to defend myself. I know who I am. I still slept at night every night.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am. However, it feels like betrayal. It feels like, heartbreak, whatever you want to call it. So recently I noticed myself and I started reflecting on this. I'll let you talk in a second. I started reflecting on this every time I got a message from somebody I hadn't heard from for a while, or every time there was an email. I don't know if you experienced this, but it's like, it was so heavy at one point that it's like, I'm like trying to prepare myself. Is it going to be something? Oh, and I'm like, I need to let this go and expect for great things to be coming my way, not complaints, not negativity, not whatever else. And so it's like, for myself to have an expectation that this person really doesn't mean to harm. For these people, they don't mean to harm. They just don't know what they don't know. And I don't know what I don't know. So we can leave it at that. And I'll continue to be authentic. If you're sleeping at night, I'll tell you, you don't have a problem. You know you, and you're confident in you.
Yeah.
It's where you're like, you think that they're actually right, where maybe you get to like dig into yourself a little bit.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I feel that so much. Everything. Yeah. Sarit, I want you to add in, and I'll just, the piece about everyone being a mirror is so true. So when we can have that higher level of consciousness, when we're receiving judgment from someone else, if it's triggering us, if it's snaring us emotionally, it's like there's something there that we get to explore a little bit. Sarit, what would you add on to that?
This is where discipline comes into play, because reputation is what you said this the other day, reputation is what people say about you. Character is what you build.
You are.
So when I lean on my discipline every single day, and even like you had a tough year last year, we had a tough year last year, and it feels like you're going through all this noise or like wilderness or whatever you want to call it. The reason why Erin and I could sleep at night is because we knew deep down that we led with integrity. Now, how other people choose to perceive us and look at us because we are leading with integrity, that's their perception of life. I cannot control how other people perceive me. You know what I mean? For me, what I know is that I show up as my most confident self when I lead with integrity with myself and with the higher power. And when I do that, and when I follow through with what I said I was going to do, and where my intentions, regardless of how uncomfortable they are in alignment with the greater good and where it is that I want to go, then ultimately that's all that matters. And I know that the rest will be taken care of. It could feel sucky in the moment, but that's why one of the things we say is that greatness wasn't meant to be convenient.
Ooh.
And something that really gives me peace too is knowing, like, for whoever's listening, if you believe in God or you believe in a greater power, I know it's between me and God.
Yeah.
And if I feel good about that, what is anybody else's opinion, including my own?
Wow.
There's the thumb. You see it?
You've actually had 2 thumbs up. You missed it the other way.
Zoom likes our conversation.
You've just given us major props.
Zoom approved.
For anyone listening, we got the Zoom thumbs up twice in this conversation. So we're trying to make it happen before the call. Didn't happen. Boom. Just let it happen organically. So yeah, just remembering big picture between you and God. Man, this is so good. There's like so many other paths I would love to take this conversation out. I know we're at time and I want to honor, but you all have a live stream 5 days a week that people can catch, by the way. So I'd love if you share that, because I know you're about to go do that, but maybe you can share just how people can get involved in your community, share about your app. I know you've got a quiz that people can take too, if they really want to take this conversation around discipline, right? And figure out, where can I strengthen myself? Where can I grow my confidence? You have these 5 pillars that you teach and that you address in the quiz. So I'll let you talk about it, but please share, how can someone connect further and get in your energy and become part of the community if they want to?
Yeah, thank you for the blessing of inviting people into our world too.
Yeah.
We have, so the quiz that we have is something that, I mean, everything's going to be on erinandsarit.com. Depending on when you're listening to this, it might already be up, it might not, but erinandsarit.com, there's a quiz there, and maybe it's in the show notes or maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we do the first 3 weeks of the month. We go live usually Monday through Friday, unless we're traveling or something like that. And it's on our Facebook group. We just live stream from our Facebook group, which is Erin and Sarit. And we talk about all different kind of things.
Yeah. Normally it's with regards to like building a sustainable lifestyle and achieving high performance. And then Thursdays are normally guest interviews, and then Fridays are fun Fridays, where we kind of like talk about what happened this week and what the heck we're up to, and just
I call it What the Fuck Friday.
Oh, whatever. Like it's kind of
Even
like
better.
And so this quiz, it's like, you know how, like, have you ever felt, I'm speaking to you and the audience, have you ever felt that you're like, man, I know I could be more disciplined, but what does that look like? Right? It's like,
or I know I could be in better shape or have better energy, or
so the question is, how do we make it tangible? So our system works because we give you a, number one, we look at you as a whole person. It's not just a diet, it's not just a workout. We look at you as an entire like body, mind, and soul, right? So like the 5 pillars that we teach and teach you how to apply are based on movement, nutrition, recovery, mindset, and mental toughness, and it's all backed up by discipline, right? So it's like, for anyone who's thinking like, man, I know I could be more disciplined, but what does that look like? Like, imagine if you ever like took a quiz that could like literally give you a score. This is your discipline score.
like tell you where you're at.
That's exactly
amazing.
what our quiz is all about. Like it asks you behavioral questions, and the intention of that is for you to learn about yourself. Okay, like when it comes to my discipline, where am I at to where I know I could be, based on like high level standards. With regards to nutrition, where am I at based on where it is that I want to be? And it's all principle based. It is not, you know, like you gotta be keto or you gotta be vegan. So it doesn't matter what your preference is. Those are just mechanics. It's from a higher level standard. Like, where are you at in terms of consistency? So
And what's the next step for you?
Right. So the value of this quiz, which I believe is probably going to be in your show notes or something along these lines, and thank you for providing that for your audience, is to give people a higher level of awareness, because we cannot change what we're not aware of, right? Where am I at with regards to these pillars? So that, you know, when you take the quiz, you're like, okay, so my score for discipline is this out of this. And then we give you action steps so that you're able to continue to rise up and rise up and rise up.
Amazing. That's so, oh my gosh, that's so helpful.
After you see your results too, it also gives you like, what are some things that I can do, I can start doing right now for every pillar to improve from where I'm at right now.
So it's tangible.
Right. Yes. We love that. We love tangible. We love it's a solid system. It's tangible. That's amazing. So yes, thank you so much. So for everyone listening, we'll link the quiz and the show notes. We'll link Erin and Sarit's website, everything you're doing. You've built a phenomenal community. And I think, again, there's such alignment between what, like, if you like what we talk about here on the podcast, then you absolutely want to connect with Erin and Sarit and get in their energy. And they're going to help you elevate on the side of health, fitness, wellness, mental resilience, toughness. Like, you all are just amazing. So I know you've got to go do your live stream and go serve your community, but thank you both so much for being here. So much love to you both. And just so grateful for you. So thank you.
Can't wait for part 2.
I know. I know. I feel like we like opened up a lot of different conversations I want to come back and go deeper in. So we'll have you back again. But thank you so, so much. So much love to you both.
Thank you.
Right back at you.
Absolutely. All right. To you, my listener. Oh my gosh. Please go connect with Erin and Sarit. You are going to be so glad that you did. So grateful, as always, to have you as a member of the She Sells community, as a listener of She Sells Radio. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.